Hey, it's me, Vicki Marie. So I hope you're all well today. Good morning from Spain, or good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you are. Here in Spain, I'm making this video. It's 8:30 in the morning. I'm on my second coffee. Now, you might hear my voice is a little bit better. I've been trying to avoid doing lives because on lives I tend to talk more. Um, I like to talk, but it's not only that. I think this is a bit of a follow on because I did have, I was poorly, wasn't I, a couple of weeks ago with a cold or something. Might be a lingering, it could be an infection. I don't know. I probably need to go to the doctor, but I'm not a person who ever goes to the doctor. Anyway, I'm going to see how it goes. I'm resting my voice. It already feels a little bit better today. And it would have been even better if I wasn't screaming at my dog this morning to come back. Which he normally comes back really quickly, but decided he wanted to go off and have a little sniff around another dog, let's say. My other dog, Riley, I can never let him off the lead. Well, I won't say never, but certainly not the campo where there's sniffs of rabbits and things, because you just never see him again for another 2 hours. But Rocky, I can normally let him off the lead and he comes back sort of instantly. Anyway, decided he wasn't going to this morning. He decided he was going to have a little sniff around a little schnauzer dog whose owner is really miserable. Typical, why don't they have a sniff around the dog where the owner's really nice? So, of course, this guy with his schnauzer, he's got it on a lead. Where I go take the dogs, most people don't have their dogs on the lead there because it's a very nice open place. A safe place, if you like, but of course, no. My Rocky decides he's got to go and sniff around the one dog that's on the lead with the one miserable owner. So I'm shouting at him to come back. He's really showing me up, like they do. And so, of course, my my voice was getting a bit better, and now it's feeling a bit this morning. And I've got classes today, so being a Spanish teacher, you have to talk. You can't go into a Spanish class and not talk. It's impossible. So lots of hot drinks. That's my second coffee of the day, but I've been drinking a lot of ginger tea, water, oat milk. Oh, you name it, I've been drinking it. Except alcohol, because I'm not, says to get over laryngitis. You must not drink alcohol because it dries out your system. So no alcohol. To be honest, I can't say that I'm that bothered, but yeah. So I'm going to rest it. So I'm not doing any lives for a couple of days. Look, I'm still even this not live, and I'm chatting, talking too much. But I cannot not do any videos because there's things to talk about. So I'm just going to try and keep them short because that's the thing. When I do a live, it can go into hours. So I thought if I do videos, I keep them a little bit shorter, an hour maximum. But I can still talk to you about developments in any of the cases that we've been looking at. So I'm going to make a couple of videos this morning, show you them through the day. I've got a big live coming up, or if you like, I've got something that I do want to talk about in a live, but I'm not going to do it until my voice is better. Concerning the Nicola Bulley case, something that I think is important, but anyway, we'll see what you think. And of course, I've got to have my voice better for the members live on Thursday evening because that is, the best night of the week. That's important. So at least there will definitely be the members live this week, definitely. Okay, so more prevarication. What I'm going to talk about in this video, or who I'm going to talk about in this video, is this beautiful soul, Mica Miller, up in the top. I think it'll be right hand corner for you. We know that Mica was the pastor's wife, giant prick pastor, John Paul pastor. It turns out the more every day we're finding more out about John Paul, what an absolute horrible person he is, and how, no doubt, he drove Mica was a sensitive soul. You could see that she was a sensitive soul. She was very God-fearing. She was so easy to manipulate. Well, he met her when she was 14 years old, and she was about 14, 15 years old, babysitting his older children. Now we find out that he's got 5 children, none with Mica. Mica didn't have any children. And we're now finding out that his oldest child, he tried to kill their mother with a car. You know, this man, there's no end to the twonkiness of this man, John Paul Miller. And I call him, because I call him JP Pastor or whatever, or JP, I call him Giant Prick. So I know Giant doesn't really start with a J, but it does for him. Because the more we find out about him, the worse it gets. Just as you think, oh my God, this guy, it can't get any worse. It does get worse. So it seems like he manipulated, apart from grooming her in the first place, but he manipulated her so much. And she even said in every single way from the day they got married, he manipulated her, he abused her in every single way that you can imagine. Seems like, he tried to get involved in sex games and all sorts of things that for a woman like Mica, she was only 30 years old when she took her life a few weeks ago. 30 in the prime of her life. And such a nice person. Because, the world needs more people like Mica and less people like him, like JP. This is her with the idiot. So yeah, seems like he made her change her body. She had a boob job, all sorts of things. There seems to be, even her own father has come out and said some allegations of her, actually menage a trois, if you like, and things that someone like Micah, I would imagine those kind of things are hard to reconcile in your head as to whether they're okay or not. John Paul, he's one of these religious people who believes, the woman's subservient to the man, should respect her husband no matter what he does. And if she doesn't respect him, she shouldn't be surprised if he goes off with somebody else. Because, he's going to go off and find somewhere else what he doesn't get at home. I expect to use that against her a few times. Anyway, the reason I'm doing this video today, I've done many videos on Mica. Please have a look if you want at the playlist. Shall I show you? I'll show you. I don't often do this, but let me see. Well, yeah. Yeah, if I show you the playlist, and you can see there's a lot, there's a lot of footage, a lot of videos on there, footage of John Paul, footage of Mica speaking. So what you do is you go onto my channel, you go into the playlists, and there's many playlists there. Samantha Murphy, Scottish Murders, the Peter Folding question and answer session. You might find that interesting to watch because of what the live that I've got coming up. Australian videos, the Nicola Bulley College of Policing report, the Idaho murders, etc. So there's lots of playlists, but there's a Mica Miller playlist. And this video that we're doing today, don't want to watch the same video. You don't want to watch these videos with me here. But yeah, if you want to catch up on what the story is so far in the Mica Miller case, there it is. I can feel my voice going, so I need to stop talking soon. So we're going to look at a video on News Nation. And they interviewed, I've shown one interview already with the fisherman that found Nicola Bulley on the brain now, found Mica's belongings on the riverbank. Now, Mica took herself off to some national park in Lumberton, miles away from where she lived. It's an hour and a half drive. She went and bought herself a gun, first of all, then she went off, and then she parked up and she walked right into the sort of middle of this national park, and then waded through water to get to the spot where she eventually ended up, sadly taking her own life. And she left her belongings on the bank of the river, and in there were $500 and a Bible, amongst other things. So where did she get the $500 from? Because she was saying that she was broke, penniless, that he wasn't letting her have any money. Because there was all these arguments about money, wasn't there, as there always is in divorces. It seems strange, does seem strange to me. Because 3 days earlier, she had filed for divorce from JP again. So she'd filed for a divorce before, but for some reason that didn't happen. And 3 days earlier, she'd filed for divorce again. So just wondering why she decided to do it, when maybe she just couldn't take it any longer, because he certainly had kept up, a resolute campaign of stalking, slashing her tyres, putting tracking devices on her car, posting things on Facebook about her, even nude photos. He'd done so many horrible things, tried to blacken her name amongst the congregation. And one thing that was certainly very important to Mica was church faith. This is, again, what sort of surprises me about what she did, because technically it was a sin, as far as a lot of Christians are concerned. Anyway, maybe she just thought it was the only way out and she just wanted to be home with Christ. I hope that's exactly where she is as we speak. Anyway, so we need to get to the bottom of this, because is there more to this? It's all very odd. Now, she did phone 911 and she did say that she was going to kill herself. What someone commented may have been a voice changing thing, but it may have been. Nothing would surprise me in this day and age. And with this John Paul Miller, I mean, if you look over the playlist, the videos of him having a meltdown, these ridiculous sermons, there is nothing that would surprise me about that man. Nothing, that would surprise me. I can see why the family are not happy with this suicide verdict. Well, it's not verdict yet. There's not been an inquest yet. I can see why they're not happy with it. He's got lots of other things going on, definitely, that he's doing wrong. The FBI are investigating him. I expect there's a lot of skeletons in JP's cupboard, even if he didn't do anything to Mica or directly do anything to Mica. There's a lot in his cupboard, a lot of skeletons in his cupboard, and hopefully it'll all come out. So if at the very least he never gets a chance to manipulate people again in the way that he has manipulated his congregation and women like Mica, she won't be the only one. That if that's the only thing that comes out of it, at least that's good. So let's have a look. It's very interesting, I think, this interview. I've seen him being interviewed before. I've played it. I made a video of it on my channel before with another interview. So this is Banfield News Nation, and one of their reporters went out and interviewed the fisherman. I sort of feel sorry for the fisherman. Some people are thinking that the fisherman had something to do with it. Well, I don't know, to be honest, because it's just a batshit case. But if he did, obviously he's a terrible person. But if he didn't, I feel really sorry for him, because he's getting a lot of backlash, and maybe he just was there fishing.
Mica Miller's death has been suspicious from the get-go. Even after police officially ruled it a suicide and shared plenty of evidence, her family still has questions. There was no eyewitness to Mica's death that day. There was, however, an ear witness.
Yeah, so Mica's family's not buying it, even though the evidence, because they released the 911 call where she was said specifically, I'm just about to KILL myself. I just want my family to know where I am. You know, can you find my location? And even despite that, people are still wondering. Just Mica, when you see the videos that she's made on, there is one video right at the end that I did think she looked very, very sad. But the others, she seemed very upbeat and positive.
Fisherman who was out on the lake at the time of Mica's death. And he says he heard Mica crying just before the fatal gunshot rang out. That fisherman took News Nation's investigative correspondent Rich McHugh on his boat to the exact spot where Mica died. And Rich joins me now live. Rich, that's sort of been the last piece that a lot of people have been trying to put together in this story of Mica's final hours. Tell me about what the fisherman was able to tell you about and what his experience was.
Oh man, Ashley, there's so much here. This is a guy that I've been trying to reach since the beginning of covering this story. Finally was able to reach him, and he agreed to meet me at the state park. I said, look, I'm going to be here all day. He finally agreed to meet. And he said, look, I want to clear up my name in this. Like, he says he's being dragged into allegations online, social media and whatnot. But I also wanted to see firsthand, like, where this took place, because there's so many questions about how she got there and why she was there. And it's all just so confusing to somebody who's been reporting on this. He graciously took us out for about a half an hour and allowed me to interview him. He didn't want his face on camera or me to name him, but he walked through what he experienced. And we have some of that sound right here. Let's take a look.
I heard a cry back when I came in, where I told you I started hearing the crying at. Then I heard a gunshot.
So this is the area, because I couldn't understand. I remember seeing something that they used a boat to go and recover Mica's body, and I was thinking, a boat? You know, I thought she did it on the path, but it seems that she went to the edge of the river, put her belongings down on the side of the river, and then waded through the water to a particular spot. And it's interesting, isn't it? Why did she do that? It's as if, you know, I wondered if she was perhaps thinking of drowning herself and then just couldn't do it, and so had the gun there as a backup. Or, you know, was she trying to sort of baptize herself again, go into the water like thinking of Jesus? You know, she was so religious. You know, she was such a believer. Was it because of that? You know, who knows?
It was probably about 2 minutes or so after I started hearing the cry. It might have been a little bit longer than that. And I heard a gunshot. It wasn't a loud gunshot. And then the crying just stopped. Right about here, that's when I heard the gunshot. The gunshot.
So right around here. You know, it's a mysterious place to go. Well, first of all, there's the mystery of why she went to Lumberton, miles away, an hour and a half away from where she actually lived. Then worried that her parents or a family should be able to find her, so then phoned the 911 operator to make sure her body could be traced. Well, why not do it somewhere else? You know, unless she just drove around aimlessly and then she just saw a national park and, you know, that was it. So who knows? But then to go there, go onto the path to the bank and then wade through the water. Was there a particular reason she wanted to be in that spot? You know, it's all very confusing, isn't it? And he says he heard her crying, but he didn't seem to hear her talking, you know, because she was online to the 911 at some point, wasn't she? He didn't seem to hear that. He just heard the crying.
I went off.
From which side? Over here on the left?
To the left. That's where I heard the gunshot.
In there.
Uh-huh. That's when the crying stopped. That looks totally different from when I came in here. Anyway.
Was it low water when you were here?
No, it was actually less water than what's in here now. So that's the area I went in through with my boat.
How do you get in there if you're not in a boat?
You can't get in there if you. What do you mean?
How was she in there?
There's a path that comes in there. That's what I told them. Yeah. There was a path that comes into here. So there's paths all in this river. And there was a path leading straight to where her belongings were laying at.
And then how did you come across her stuff, her belongings?
I just seen it laying up on the bank when I pulled up in here. Yes, sir. It was laying up on the bank. I don't know why I grabbed it. I just grabbed it. Didn't ever look at it or nothing. I got out and I looked.
You know, I can see why people, because if you saw someone's belongings on the bank like that, I don't think you'd take it straight away, would you? Because they could just be coming. They could have just gone for a wee, or, you know, just gone behind a tree to go to the toilet, or having a little dip in the water. I mean, who knows? I don't think it was warm. Because I remember when JLR went there, it was pouring down with rain. So I don't think it's summer, is it? I don't know. But would you just pick up the belongings like that unless you're thinking, oh God, somebody's left their bag here? Very, you know. So why? Nothing's ever straightforward, is it?
Looked around because there was a clearing on the left and the right, and I looked around because I felt like something was wrong, but I never seen nothing. I took the stuff, put it in my boat, went back to the landing. Her driver's license, her bank card, she had her keys, $500, a little over $500. Every bit of that money got back.
It was not a wallet? It was a wallet?
It was what they call, I guess, ladies call them fanny packs.
So yeah, so she inside. So I take it inside her bag. She had like a fanny pack, as the Americans call it. We don't call those at Britain. We don't use fanny for that. But we call them a bum bag, because in Britain it's fanny is bum, of course, in American English. In British English, fanny means something completely different. So we call them bum bags, not fanny packs. So she had $500 and a Bible, her keys, her cards, etc. But it does seem a bit funny that he picked a bag up and went through it as well. But he said he couldn't see anybody around. But wouldn't you have shouted? Though I suppose even if it, oh, is there anyone here? You've left your bag. Is somebody here? Whose bag is this? Don't know what I would have done. I don't think I would have just picked it up straight away, because I would have tried to make sure probably if there were, you know, that there wasn't someone who just left it there a minute while they went and relieved themselves or whatever. But hey, you know, we all do things differently.
What do you say to the people accusing you of being a part of this?
Quit trying to be investigators. I did not do this. There was no way in the world I would harm anybody like that. Even my worst enemy, I would not do nothing like that. I was just here fishing. So
you've got two ways of looking at this. Either this poor guy was just there fishing, I bet he wishes he'd never bothered that day, or he had something to do with it. But you know, I don't know him. We don't know him as a person, so we have no idea what kind of person he is. You know, so it could be the most ridiculous thing to think that he had anything to do with it, or he might be a long-time felon for all I know. You know, it's, I just don't know. All we know, the thing is, I think people cannot accept, and I agree, you know, it's difficult to accept that Mica did this. Because we do know a bit about Mica, even though we didn't know her personally, because of all the footage that's available, especially on her Facebook, etc. We have had an insight into Mica's personality, and the first thing I thought was, God, surely she wouldn't do that, because she seems so God-fearing. But then the more I've learned, of course, about the JP and the way he's treated her and how he's, you know, worn her down, then I can see that it is possible. But a family are determined not to accept it, but it's often difficult for the family to accept it.
I can understand people, you know, thinking stuff. It did look odd, but people's going to think stuff. I've even been trying to figure out what happened.
Now, a couple quick things, Ashley. He says this is the last interview he's doing. He wants to do this to try and clear his name on social media. Having been there at the
I've got to say, he shouldn't bother trying to clear his name on social media, because you'll never be able to do it. You can give 200 interviews, and people, we see that with every case, don't we? People tend to form their opinions pretty early on about what they think happened, and then I think it's unusual for them to change them, because they either seek out information that confirms what they think. You know, we've got it now with the Sebastian case, Sebastian Rogers. If people from the beginning thought the Proudfoots, Chris and Katie, had something to do with Sebastian disappearing, they probably still think that now. And it doesn't matter how many times they get interviewed, whether they're shouting, whether they're crying, whatever they're doing, saying, lie detector test. People who are determined that they had something to do with it, they probably won't change their minds. And as I say, they'll watch things. I always try to stay on the fence about things, but I know that sometimes that's not popular. Sometimes people, if you don't confirm what people suspect about something, they can get quite annoyed about it. And we saw that with the Peter Folding fiasco. As soon as you say, well, I don't believe Peter Folding, people get angry about it, because you're not going along with what they think. So, we can see that this guy my advice to him would be, the reason you're making these videos is to try and clear your name, forget it, because that's not going to happen. There'll still be people who will think he's had something to do with it. But I think it's good that he's doing these videos for information. To let people understand what might have happened. Everyone's curious because they care about Mica and what happened to her. Everyone's curious as to her final moments. And again, I think people, including me, I don't like the pastor. So nothing would please me better to have it confirmed that he actually had something to do with it. And I mean that, because I feel he did have something to do with it. Maybe not in a direct way where he pulled the trigger. He didn't have to pull the trigger. He's been killing Mica for years. He's been 2 years in the killing of Mica. It's taken him 2 years to kill her, to murder her, really. He just did it in a different way. There are more ways of murdering someone. Sometimes people just get to a point, especially people like Mica, sensitive, caring, get to a point they just can't take it anymore. They can't see a way out. They can't see that it will ever end. So, that's a murder 2 years in the making as far as I'm concerned.
Site where this happened, Ashley, I gotta say, the only thing I could think of was, like, how in the world did she get back in there? And after talking with her family, knowing that she had to walk through waist-deep water to get there, you can only wonder, like, why? Like, why would she go to these lengths to get into that area?
Yeah, I mean, it's so sad, especially since she seemed to want to be found. That's why she called 911 to let them know where she was. Rich, tomorrow you've got another exclusive interview with the gas station owner, where Mica was maybe last seen alive. I'll look forward to that. And thank you for doing this reporting. And please give our regards to that fisherman.
You bet.
And great thanks to him for taking us on that tour.
So tomorrow he's got another interview with the where Mica went to put gas in. I'm surprised he hasn't been to interview the pawn shop where she bought the gun, to be honest. Maybe that'll be the next step on the way, because I would certainly want to talk to them as well. Because she was smiling. That photo when she buys the gun, I wonder if I've got it easy here just to put up. I think I might have taken it off. She was smiling, when she bought that gun. It's quite odd, isn't it? So maybe she was happy that she was going to Jesus and she made a decision. Sometimes just making that decision, lots of times when people go on to do something to themselves, this footage comes out of them smiling and happy. Gaynor Lord was that, you know, she was leaving work. She said that she had to leave early, maybe, and she was smiling, and maybe she was happy that she'd made that decision. She was, you know, she was going. Don't forget, for people that are in, you know, have ideations of the big S, life is intolerable. Death is, they want to, you know, go on to the next planet, whatever it is, or the next level, the next, they cannot cope with the life that they are living. So they are happy in the thought that they're going somewhere better. You know, they are happy, and once they've made that decision, this quite often happens. They go off, they give their possessions away, start saying goodbye to people. Once they've made that decision, it's like a relief, you know. And I know, if you know, it's hard to imagine that, but you know, that's unfortunately how it is. And self-deletion is so common. You know, I think we notice a lot of cases now, don't we? Especially women found in rivers and things like that, after the Nicola Bulley case, that sort of highlighted everyone's, well, all of you that are watching this probably will know about the Nicola Bulley case. And it heightens people's perceptions of river deaths. And now it feels like it's every 5 minutes someone's being found, you know, dead in a river, or but unfortunately, that is the sad truth, and it probably has been for a long time, that if people are considering self-deletion, sometimes that is just an easy way to do it, if you like. I mean, it don't feel easy to me, but, you know, God, it's a horrible thought. But for a lot of people, water is a very attractive prospect as far as deleting yourself is concerned. So, yeah, so the mystery deepens. I mean, let me know, what do you think? Is it possible that Mica could have been murdered? Or do you think that, to me, I think she was murdered, but in a different way. A murder 2 years in the making by giant prick pastor. That's my opinion. I don't think that fisherman had anything to do with it. Because would he have even handed in the belongings? You know, would it, if he was a person who did that, wouldn't he have just left the belongings there? You know, I don't know, unless he did it for theft. But she bought the gun. You know, she did buy the gun. So, you know, was there an altercation there on the river? I honestly, I just don't believe that. I don't think there was. I think Mica did it to herself, but she did it to herself after years of abuse by JP. JP, who said she had mental illness problems, but it was him who was having having a total freak out on the ground, like just lost the plot completely. Just typical coercive control, saying she had mental health problems, having her even sectioned. You know, imagine that. And then taking over her social media accounts. Imagine. Anyway, that's all I've got to say about that for today. I mean, I'm sure there'll be more things come out. I can feel my voice going. So I'll probably release this video as a premiere later, because I know you like to chat to each other as well. So I probably will release it as a premiere sometime this afternoon. And then it's there as a video for people to watch. And I hope I'll be back doing live soon. Gosh, can you hear my voice? It's like it sort of just starts to give up on itself. I've got lots of classes this morning. Apparently, you're not supposed to whisper when you've got laryngitis. It's harder to whisper than it is to speak. It says you should just speak at your normal level. Okay, so remember to live and love wisely, carefully. Rest in peace, Mica. Gosh, I didn't even light my candle this morning. The problem that I've had with the candle as well is it's a perfumed candle and it seems to irritate my throat, but I will light it for Mica. I may not leave it on for very long, but I light it for the video and for Mica. And you know what? As I always say, this candle is for all of you. I know there's some of this, you know, I get a lot of emails every day. I thank you for the emails, by the way, and if I don't answer you straight away, please don't judge me. You know, I do try and get round to emails when I can. And I've had all sorts of emails. I've had positive emails, some happy things happening in people's lives. Some people are struggling with illness. Some people are struggling with mental illness, or they've got family who are struggling with illness or mental illness. People have got financial difficulties. People just generally feeling fed up, like depressed. And then other people, not so much. So I get lovely emails saying thank you for the videos. And listen, I really want to thank everyone in particular who leaves them a nice positive comment or sends me a lovely email saying thank you, because that just means everything to me. Because sometimes I do get, like, you know, I'm human like everybody else, dealing with true crime, and that can get depressing. And then, you know, we've got our own lives to deal with, and you know, real life can get depressing, can't it? You know, things happen, issues that you have to deal with. So when I get an email or a comment from someone who says, oh, nice things like so many people get well soon and stuff like that, we're looking forward to hearing you on a live again. So many people like, oh, you know, you're listening to you makes my day. So many lovely comments. I truly, from the bottom of my heart, want to say thank you so much, because you have no idea what difference that makes to me. So I'm getting emotional now. So remember to live and love wisely and carefully. And yep, rest in peace, Mica. Let's have a nice big picture of Mica up. Which is a beautiful picture of Mica. He's such a beautiful person. You know, beautiful inside and out, Mica, it seems. Not many people that are beautiful inside and out. So rest in peace, Mica. I'll see you really soon in the next video. And until then, as always, may your gods go with you. Thank you.